like, I think there's like two ways that you can skate, and there's two ways that people do tend to skate. There's both, you can do it like very physically, and it's a lot more like a sport and a lot more about you know, like strength and power and like how you go about that. But you can also be very creative with it, and that's more about how can you turn everyday obstacles or areas in the world, not necessarily skate parks, but like on the streets, how can they become objects of your like creative expression? What can you do there that sort of like allows you and that object to do something different that you would never like really realize that it was capable of doing to begin with. On top of that, there's the whole like DIY scene at a DIY skate park, so it's also about like, what can you do yourself? You know, like if something doesn't exist for you, like how can you make it a possibility? Like what can you do? What can you build? What can you like become? And I think, you know, just learning as well that like you fail something again and again and again and again and again, and then eventually like you get it, like understanding that you can pretty much succeed through just like non-stop trying something, that's like extremely beneficial for anyone and everyone. Yeah. Normally, you know, you spend a lot of your time just kind of working and just like living around, and then when you go and skate, it kind of is just like a moment where you just forget about your life and you forget about everything that's going on, and you're kind of just there hanging out with friends, seeing people that you really, really enjoy, and like, you know, taking part in like a physical creative activity, which just doesn't really exist. It's not very easy to come by these like very, you know, I think mental health is obviously like a difficult topic, and people talk about it, you know, all the fucking time, but also people like hide from it as much as they can. But in something like this, you know, I mean, there's the obvious, like just being outside, being active, being creative is going to like benefit you in the long run, but also I think like nowadays it's a very supportive culture, and like a lot of people are there to help, and there's a lot of resources that maybe you might be able to like hear about through other people like within skating that can help you if you ever struggle with mental health. It's just about reaching out.
The impact and influence skating has had on my life. I think that the process of learning how to skateboard and being around others learning and seeing people a lot better than me, and some people just starting out, I think it's made my perseverance a bit stronger. I think it's important to do hard things and be scared, kind of day to day, like once a week, scare yourself. Because I think if you're getting worked up and anxious about day to day struggles, they don't really amount to that much, and they don't mean that much. I think it's important to put it in perspective. And when you're coming up to a, you know, kickflip a 5-stair or drop down a vert or something, I think it kind of puts things into perspective. You can trust yourself that the amount that you've practiced and the amount of muscle memory you have, you can put faith in your own ability to do things. You don't have to overthink stuff. And I think you can apply that to not just skateboarding, but most of your life.
Yeah.